Thank you for joining us today on NBC Palm Springs for a special broadcast of the 29th Annual Senior Inspiration Award. My name is Charles Townsend, Mayor Pro Tem and Chair of the Senior Inspiration Awards Committee this year. The Senior Inspiration Awards was started in 1992 to recognize seniors in every city of the Valley for volunteering. They have given their time, their talent, and spirit by serving their community, and we want to honor them for their efforts today. As we were preparing for our luncheon last year in Rancho Mirage, however, this event became one of the first in the Coachella Valley to be postponed due to, guess what? COVID pandemic. We wanted to make sure our honorees were honored for their amazing services to our communities while staying safe and healthy. And so we created a new virtual program, which you are watching now, on NBC Palm Springs. April is National Volunteer Month, and it is fitting that we celebrate their volunteerism today. First, I would like to introduce Rabbi Sally Owens, Doctor of Divinity, will give the invocation.
In Judaism, it is said, that which is holy is filled with light, and that which is not holy is cast in darkness. And the charge of living is to fill life with holiness and light. Now, admittedly, it is sometimes difficult to find light in this world. We open the newspaper in the morning, listen to the radio during the day, turn on the television at night, and surf the net morning, noon, and night. And this year, we have been witness to a world that seemed to be plunging more deeply into darkness. And it would be so easy for us to wallow in darkness, but not our senior volunteers. Your commitment has been to bring light to the world, and your individual actions are the indispensable building blocks of a society that moves from darkness to light. It was said of Eleanor Roosevelt that she would prefer to light a single candle than to curse the darkness. And that is all any of us can do. Light a little candle of hope, a little candle of goodness, a little candle of decency. One small candle may not be much by itself, but with yours and mine, with longtime friends and with newcomers, we build a blaze that will light our paths and free ourselves of biases and misunderstandings and forge an unbreakable bond of righteousness and compassion. May God continue to give our honorees strength, courage, and the passion to continue to do their tireless work in bringing about the betterment of all life, and indeed bringing the light of holiness to our world. You, our honorees, are mirroring the divine. God bless you. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Sally. Now for the national anthem sung by Allie from the Rancho Mirage High School, the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
Wow, that was absolutely wonderful. Now it's my pleasure to present the Vice Chair of the Senior Inspiration Awards Committee, Ms. Linda Evans, Mayor of the illustrious city of.
Thank you, Charles. And as you mentioned, the Senior Inspiration Awards was first held in 1992, thanks to then Riverside County Supervisor Patricia Corky Larson. I'd like to take this time to honor the life of former County Supervisor Larson, who passed away last year. Her efforts and passion for the community were always evident and have had lasting effects on all of us. This year's Senior Inspiration Awards program is dedicated to Corky. This event was then continued by Supervisor Roy Wilson, Supervisor John J. Benoit, and continues with our host and current supervisor, Supervisor V. Manuel Perez. For the past 28 years, this event has served to give recognition to some of the most outstanding citizens in the Coachella Valley, and even as far eastward as Blythe. This year, we again honor 11 individuals for their efforts. Each individual was chosen by their city for their volunteerism and community engagement. Throughout this program, we will get to know the honorees, and I can assure you, you will be inspired. Continuing the tradition of the Senior Inspiration Awards is our host, Supervisor V. Manuel Perez. Welcome, Supervisor.
It is my pleasure to continue the tradition of recognizing seniors who go above and beyond for their communities. We all know that many events were canceled or postponed due to the pandemic. The Senior Inspiration Awards was no exception. So, this year, we are continuing the celebration for our 2020 and 2021 honorees virtually. These honorees are special, not only for the work they do, but also because they get to claim 2 years of recognition. I would like to thank Mayor Pro Tem Townsend and Mayor Evans for leading this great effort in such a difficult time. I'd also like to acknowledge the hard work of all the Senior Inspiration Awards Committee who represent the 9 Coachella Valley cities and the Riverside County Foundation of Aging. Now, let's get to it. Who's our first honoree?
Hi, I'm Christy Holstage, Mayor for the City of Palm Springs. I'm honored to introduce Senior Inspiration Award recipient, Jack Schreckengost. Jack is 96 years old and moved to the Coachella Valley with his wife in 1987. Retired, Jack was searching for a new activity and got a position as a crossing guard at Vista Del Monte Elementary School in Palm Springs. For 32 years, Jack has been helping students, parents, and pets safely cross the street to school. Waving to Jack every morning and afternoon has been a routine for generations of students. He's missed only 1 week in 32 years. Congratulations to Jack for receiving this distinguished award.
My name is Jack Schreckengost. I'm 97 and I'll be 98 in April 30th. Well, it started out when I left Pennsylvania. I was in the Marine Corps. The war broke out. I enlisted. Was brought out here to California, and I said, "No, I'm not going back to Pennsylvania. This is God's country." And so that's what happened. Oh, I like to work because it gets out of the house. Well, they hired me as the crossing guard at Vista Del Monte School.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I've been working for them ever since, until the virus, it stopped me. Dead cold. They didn't want me anymore. Now when it's over, I'm hoping they want me some more. I like to work till about 110 or 12. That's what I'd like to do.
So a little bit longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer. I wait there, they come, and then I cross them over the street to the other side, and then they go on. People come by and they stop and they talk with me, and we talk, and waiting for the children to come and stuff like that. But sometimes I get in a little trouble because people, they don't want to stop and they cuss me out, but that's all right. I don't care. Cuss me all you want. Just don't hit me. That's all I want. So that's the way it goes. Those cars on that street, they drive fast, and I've many times. I mean, I've been out there in the middle of the street, and they haven't stopped at all yet. And I'm blowing my whistle and holler and stuff like that. I got a lot of people that I made friends with by waving. I wave at a lot of people that drive their car. They stop. They do well. So I can't complain. We help in the churches, things like that, and I think that helps us to keep on going, you know. And they have something for us to do, and we do it, that type of thing. So I think that faith, I guess I would say, is helping us. We lived in Santa Barbara, and in Santa Barbara, some guy knocked on our door one day, and he talked us into buying a piece of property down here, which is this. And so we bought it, and it stayed here like that. And then I was working for the milkman, as a milkman. And so we decided that we wanted to move, and so they give us to a different department and so forth, until finally we ended up here. That's where we ended up.
La Quinta's Senior Inspiration Award recipient is Jeff Smith. Jeff has lived in La Quinta since 1974, before the city was incorporated, which was 1982. He was a teacher for Desert Sands Unified for 32 years and also coached several seasons of La Quinta AYSO before retirement. Jeff was selected for this award because of his longtime community involvement, which includes his role on the steering committee for the Cove Neighborhood Association, being a CERT member, serving as a steward of the Fred Wolf Bear Creek Nature Preserve, serving as La Quinta's representative to the Coachella Valley Trails Management Subcommittee, including leading hikes on the La Quinta Cove Trails, and for chairing the Acquisitions and Archives Committee for the La Quinta Historical Society with his wife, Valerie. Jeff's dedication and service to the La Quinta community is commendable, and our entire City Council is proud to honor him. Thank you and congratulations, Jeff.
My name is Jeff Smith. I grew up in San Diego and came out here in 1974, but before that time I was kind of a beach kind of a guy, and but we really enjoyed living in the desert here. I came to teach high school social studies at Indio High School, where I met my wife, and we thought, well, we'll stay here until jobs open up on the coast, and then two things happened. One, very few jobs opened up on the coast, and two, we grew to love this place so much that we decided to stick around. So we've been here 46 years. I started with the sports events that my kids were in, youth soccer, and thought that I wanted to be there to help the kids, and I like kids, having been a teacher, and enjoy them. So I worked with soccer and then helped out a little bit with my son's baseball team, and it sort of got me into the idea that giving up this time was pretty rewarding. And then it sort of grew out of that to more civic affairs. Currently, we're involved with community organizations involving the Cove. I work with the Mountains Trails Committee for the CVCC Conservation Commission. We have been involved with the La Quinta Historical Society, and we've been doing things that we like, things that we enjoy, and have been getting a good deal of enjoyment out of it. But the first thing that really got us involved was something that we were angry and upset about. For years, almost over 10 years, the La Quinta City Council refused to build the Fritz Burns Park. There was land donated, there was money available, and we got organized with people in the community to say to the City Council, look, we need you to build this pool and this park. And we kept at it for 10 or 11 years, and finally they saw the wisdom of our group, and we now have not the grand park that we had envisioned, but a lovely facility and a pool that gets some of the, when people are using public pools, some of the best use in the county. So we're very happy about that. Without volunteers, without people who are in the community bringing their ideas and their expertise and their experience to issues that are important in a community, the city staff and city council may not even be aware of things that need to happen. Quick example, we were involved with the group of people that pushed for the city to restrict parking on the south end of the Cove, where there was a tremendous traffic issue. So we worked we walked door to door and talked to residents. We asked about whether or not they believed there should be parking on the street, and the decision people came up with was no, it's too dangerous. So we've ended up with 2 parking lots, courtesy of the city, at either end of the top of the Cove, and now no parking along the Cove, so we have a much safer area for people to come and walk and bike and just walk and enjoy. So that's the kind of thing that that volunteers bring to the city. And I want to thank the people who nominated me for this award. Frankly, it never occurred to me that beforehand that I was doing anything extraordinary or noteworthy, and to be honored this way is wonderful. So for the people who recommended me, for the people at the city who went along with it, I offer a great deal of thanks.
The City of Rancho Mirage is delighted to honor Robert Schwartz for this year's Senior Inspiration Award. Robert has given us a most precious and valuable gift. He gives us his time serving our community on the streets as captain of our Citizens on Patrol program. Robert leads and oversees all of our cops volunteers with great wisdom, experience, and understanding. We are grateful for his kindness and enthusiasm and service. We are thankful for Robert's dedication to the people of Rancho Mirage and beyond. And at this special time, we thank him for inspiring others to give their time. Robert, from the bottom of all of our hearts here in the city of Rancho Mirage, a major thank you. And to all who are watching, please welcome the City of Rancho Mirage's Senior Inspiration Award honoree, Robert Schwartz.
My name is Bob Schwartz. I was born in Germany and immigrated to India during World War II and came to the United States in 1946. If I wanted to go on vacation, I'd stay right here. I volunteered. Primarily, I've been doing volunteer work with the Citizens on Patrol. I've been active for the past 6 years with them. I was I ran the program for 3 years, the city of Rancho Mirage, and it's been a wonderful experience. And I hope to continue doing it as soon as we get past this pandemic and they reactivate the program, that we can get out there again and represent the city. 2 gentlemen in full Class A uniform showed up at my front door one day and recruited me for the program. And it was kind of interesting because I was in the Air Force for 3.5 years. And one of the things I said to myself when I got out is, I'm never going to wear a uniform again. And they changed my mind. I did. And I'm proud to wear it and enjoy doing the work. We assist people under a number of circumstances. Although we are not an enforcement unit, we do assist the police department with traffic control and do traffic control at accident scenes, help people when they're stuck in their vehicle. It's been very rewarding. We've had some younger people in our program, and even though the average age of our group is in the 70s, we've had a couple of younger people, and we have shown them what we do, and we have taken them along with us on patrol and encouraged them to assist and to help other people. I am going to be doing some work with FIND, which is food in need of distribution through Temple Sinai and Palm Desert. I'm going to start doing that in a couple of weeks. Well, I hope we get back to some sense of normalcy. I'm looking forward to doing what I did before, and maybe a little bit more than what I did before, because I've learned quite a bit in this pandemic that people need help, and people that are less fortunate, than myself, can use the help whether there's a pandemic or not.
Hello, I'm Richard Balaco, the mayor of the city of Indian Wells, and I'm privileged to introduce our Senior Inspiration Award winner, Linda Blank. Linda has lived in Indian Wells for the past 13 years. In her time as a resident, she established the first Modernism Week Indian Wells Signature Home Tour and sat on the Indian Wells Historic Preservation Foundation's Advisory Committee as the chair. Currently, she sits on the city's Grants and AIDS Committee and has sat on past committees of the community activities. Linda also fulfills several roles for the Palm Springs Art Museum. She is a true steward of philanthropy for Indian Wells, and we are grateful for her contributions. Congratulations, and thank you, Linda.
My name is Linda Blank. I was born in Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital in Hollywood, California, grew up in Manhattan Beach, Sherman Oaks, and Granada Hills. Was fortunate to graduate from UCLA in Westwood. And then my husband and I moved to Chicago, where we lived twice. And then we also moved to Boston, where we lived twice. And then in addition, we moved to Portland, Oregon, and Philadelphia, and ended up in Washington, D.C., before coming here in 2007 full-time. For me personally, I never volunteered before I came here, because like many, I was very busy with my career. And it was never a time to do anything to give back to community. So it was really a gift to be able to reside here at the end of my career. My areas of focus have been the Palm Springs Art Museum, and particularly the Galen, which is in transition now, but was a satellite of the Palm Springs Art Museum. Obviously, everything is closed right now, so my focus now is with the City of Indian Wells, which has been a part of my volunteering since 2010. And in that capacity, I was working with the Community Activities Committee, which was really fun, and also the Grants and Aid Committee, which is important because giving back to other elements of the Coachella Valley and helping nonprofits out. My passion right now is Modernism Week, and working with the Indian Wells Historic Preservation Foundation, because there's harmony between those two activities. Well, I think it's really about community, and in the past, with the work experience that I had, I never had an opportunity to contribute to the community. I mean, you could certainly write a check, but that's different than getting out there, getting your hands dirty, making change happen. So in Indian Wells, what I've really found the most rewarding is working in understanding, appreciating, and cultivating education for other residents about the importance of our architecture, and also in relationship to the history of our community through the Indian Wells Historic Preservation Foundation. I would encourage anyone who's thinking about it just to appreciate the passion involved, identify what the focus area is so that they don't waste time trying things out and then losing interest. And there are unlimited resources, so contacting your local city hall and determining what committees are available for volunteers and getting involved in one of those. It's an application process. You go through an interview and then you get selected, or not. And then also with the Palm Springs Art Museum, going on their website. And the same would be true with Modernism Week. So Modernism Week just has continued to grow every year. It has two major activities, one in the fall and one, well, before COVID, every February, but now in April this year. So these are just extraordinary opportunities. Plus the Palm Springs Air Museum is very, very popular. So I haven't done that myself. The Mountain Conservancy Group, maintaining the commitment to the environment. So those are just a few that I could mention. I would simply just like to thank my wonderful friends, Ellen Donaldson and Linda Pellegrino, for getting me involved in this. Certainly the city council members, particularly Mayor Ty Peabody, who just retired, for realizing how important it can be to get Modernism Week involved in our community, the amazing staff at City Hall, and certainly wonderful friends in Los Lagos, which is where I reside.
It was an honor to have nominated Lieutenant General Herb Temple as the Senior Inspiration Award recipient for 2020 as much as it is today in 2021. It is his love of country, of our great United States of America, land of the free. Lieutenant General Herb Temple was a career military officer who put country before self. He enlisted as a private in 1947 in the Korean War and earned the Combat Infantry Pledge. The rest is history. His brilliant career caught the eye of President Ronald Reagan, and he served the president as military assistant as Director of Emergency Services for the California National Guard. And in 1986, he was appointed Chief of the National Guard and was promoted to Lieutenant General. And in retirement, he did not stop as he continued to be involved in the National Guard for California, as well as volunteer in many other statewide agencies and locally here in Coachella Valley. I could spend hours highlighting all his community service, but we'll end here and say, Lieutenant General Herb Temple, on behalf of the City of Palm Desert and myself, it is an honor to nominate you as the Senior Inspiration recipient for 2020.
My name is Herb Temple. I grew up in Los Angeles, California. I went to the second oldest high school in the city, Los Angeles Polytechnic. I'm an Angelino. I moved to the desert in 1996 at the conclusion of my Army career. I didn't know that Palm Desert even existed. My late wife, when I would discuss our final move, we were living in Washington, D.C., and she said, we're going to Palm Desert, California. And I said, where is that? Well, as young people, we would come out to Palm Springs, but never any further. But she would come out visiting friends and relatives out here, and unbeknownst to me, they made the decision that I would retire in Palm Desert, California. Well, I was married to my high school sweetheart for 65 years. We grew up during the Depression years. We went from the Depression into World War II. We then saw the changing in the world and our communities and our people as we became a different kind of people. from what we know as youngsters. So I think all of that was the foundation upon which she and I conducted our lives. We were unaccustomed to many of the modern things that they have today. I have a computer, but I use it to very simple things. But no, we grew up in a different kind of time, a different kind of life, and we lived together for 65 years. And she put up with me and the moves and the discomforts that come with an Army life. But she was a marvelous woman, and I did everything I could to make her life good, and she certainly delivered for me. This is probably what I dreamed of, not even knowing it existed. And it's not only the area, the beauty and all of that, but it's the people. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is the people. How did I get started in volunteering? I suppose I didn't seek it out. Tom Freeman, who was working in the county government, had served with me in Washington, D.C. He had been an Air Force person and on the same organization which I was with. So when I relocated out here, he contacted me, and I became involved in whatever he thought I ought to be involved in. And it's a moral obligation that I have to those who served, not necessarily with me, but served somewhere, and to help them. And I became involved with a program which is known as the Veterans Easy Access Program, which has been very helpful in helping veterans become associated with the benefits and the assistance that they might need. So I consider that my payback to the community and to my brothers in arms who have given so much of themselves.
Are you inspired yet? Don't worry, because we have more. Our next honoree is Carol Sanfilippo from Cathedral City. Carol volunteered at Cathedral City Police Department as a citizen on patrol. Sadly, Carol passed away in 2019, but her service to the community continues to be an inspiration. Get to know Carol from her friend, Susie Genera.
What can I say about my friend Carol? I miss her dearly, and she was a hoot to work with. She was always there when we needed her. She did a lot of work for us, and she was a great friend also. Out of work, we did shopping together. I cooked her a lot of food that she loved, and she was an all-time favorite of ours. We loved working with her at the PD, and she deserves this award. I wish she was here to accept it, but we'll see her again. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mary Elaine Holmes, and I wanted to take this chance to congratulate Maureen Boren. She is the City of Indio's honoree for the Senior Inspiration Awards. Maureen has been involved with education and special education and meeting the needs of her student and youth for many, many years. Currently, her passion is public arts and public arts in the community. She sits on the board of the Coachella Valley History Museum here in Indio, as well as the Palm Springs Art Museum, and is involved with many other areas here in the greater Coachella Valley, enhancing the lives of youth, of students, and of art throughout. We are very honored to have Maureen Boren a part of our community. Congratulations.
My name is Maureen Boren. I grew up in many places. Down in the tip of Texas, I grew up partially in Okinawa, but most of my life has been spent in California. Marriage brought me here. I came out and I had already been teaching, so I got a teaching job in the Coachella Valley Unified School District in 1970, and I've continued to live here for 50 years. Volunteerism gives you unlimited possibilities. You can be creative. You can find your own path, and the same is true about teaching. You know, the way you want to teach is really up to you. You do have some latitude. Perhaps we had more latitude before. I did work with the Coachella Valley History Museum as a volunteer in the beginning, and then I become a board member for about 20 years. And I love sharing the history of the valley with visitors. I love being a part of developing exhibits and interpretations for the public, developing programs for students. We have a Young at Art program, we have a Junior Historian program. We've held large festivals which have highlighted the many cultures that actually developed this valley, valley-wide. And it's been fun to educate the community and to preserve the history. Right now, I also am a docent at the Palm Springs Art Museum because my other love is art and has always been art. Although when I was working, it was a very exacting job and I didn't have much time to pursue art or the study of art or appreciation. So as soon as I retired in 2001, I applied to become a docent. And I also wanted to learn more about that community, which it has offered me the opportunity to do. So I really love working at the Art Museum, and we can't wait to get back and be able to be docents and help people find out more about the art. In the same way, I figured I should do something in my own community. And I do live in Palm Desert and have for a long time, kind of the center where I can go both directions. And so I applied and became a member of the Art and Public Places Commission here in Palm Desert, which has allowed me to learn a lot more about municipal government and to be able to have a hand in placing art throughout the city. I'd like to thank the city of Indio for recognizing me. I consider it my second home. My husband says I spend more time at the museum in Indio than I spend at home. It just depends on what we're doing. I have so many people that have been so wonderful to me and supportive of the ideas that I wanted to pursue. My husband is a super supporter. Sometimes he thinks that we often call him Bob. His name's not Bob, but that means beast of burden, because whatever project I get involved in, he usually is summoned to help. So it helps to have a supportive partner, or you can't do some of the things that I've been allowed to do.
En este año 2021 queremos darle el reconocimiento y el homenaje a Eduardo Díez por ser el voluntario del año por la ciudad de Coachella. En los últimos 12 años, Eduardo ha dado de su tiempo y de su energía. Por 8 años ha servido en la parroquia dando despensas a nuestra comunidad y por los últimos 4 años él ha dado de su tiempo en el centro de seniors en la ciudad de Coachella. Por eso es que de parte de la ciudad de Coachella y nuestros 50,000 habitantes y el concilio de Coachella quiere reconocer a Eduardo Díez por ser el voluntario del año.
Mi nombre completo es Eduardo Díaz Conde. Nací en México, crecí, duré 20 años allá y el resto de mi vida aquí. Ahorita soy voluntario, por así decirlo, pero no estamos ahí, pero en el Senior Center de Coachella. Empecé hace 4 años. Antes estuve 8 años cerca de lo que es la iglesia católica de Coachella, en donde dábamos despensas y yo ayudaba en lo que podía. O sea, ya llevo como 12 años de voluntario en lo que salga, lo que sea que haya que hacer. Es lo que he hecho hasta la fecha. Las ganas de ayudar a la comunidad siempre las he tenido, pero siempre trabajé hasta que me retiré. Entonces empecé a no tener mucho que hacer, a ayudar en lo que podía allá y me dijeron que ahí podía ayudar en ese lugar y fue por lo que fui. Estaba ayudando en un lugar, ahí atrás de un lado de la iglesia católica de Coachella. Nuestra Señora de la Soledad, algo así se llama. Ahí empecé, pero yo siempre había querido hacer algo así, porque sí, mucha gente necesita ayuda. Como estoy ahorita en el Senior Center, a veces estamos y hay gente que ya están pues más necesitada, digamos, que yo de las rodillas. Y yo me levanto y les ayudo en lo que puedo, es todo. No es gran cosa, pero lo que se puede hacer es lo que hago. Y como todavía puedo caminar, gracias a Dios, por eso lo hago. En el buen sentido de la palabra, mi papá y mi mamá en mayor parte también, porque siempre me decían que tráeme esto, hazme lo otro, y yo iba y lo hacía, es todo. Y si había que ayudar a alguien, no le sé quién fuera, ve y ayuda a aquella persona, yo lo hacía, siendo un niño, pues. De ahí de adelante empecé a ayudarlos a ellos mismos, a mi papá y a mi mamá, en todo. Así estuvimos buen tiempo, en todo lo que pude los ayudé. Y ya para cuando yo quedé libre ya totalmente, fue joven de 20 años, fue cuando vine para acá. Ya empecé a volar solito y vine para acá y me di cuenta que también a veces necesita, no todo el mundo, pero mucha gente se necesita un poquito de ayuda, y es lo que hago. Y me gusta. Lo que me gusta es ayudar, nomás. No quiero, digamos, ni sobresalir en nada, absolutamente en nada. Nomás ayudar y ya. Cuando puedo ayudar a alguien lo hago y me siento bien. Pues quiero darle gracias a Dios que me ayuda. Y que si me puede seguir ayudando, pues que siga. No me lo esperaba y no lo espero. No lo hago para eso. No se puede decir, nada más quiero ser útil. Eso. Y si alguien tiene que darle las gracias es a Dios. Nada más. Sí, no espero una recompensa tampoco. No creo que sea necesario. Quisiera que todo el mundo trabajara igual, si pudiera. Y que no pongan reparos o se pongan cosas que no tienen caso. Si podemos ayudar a alguien, ¿por qué no hacerlo? Eso es todo. Así de fácil.
Hi everybody, Scott Mattis, the Mayor of the City of Desert Hot Springs. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Courtney Moe as the Senior Inspiration Award for the City of Desert Hot Springs for 2020 and 2021. Obviously with the pandemic, it's taken us a while to get here, but we're finally here, and Courtney deserves it. He's been a long-time resident of Desert Hot Springs. He's been a philanthropist. He's been someone that's volunteered, someone that's given his time to really deserve this award. So help me in congratulating Courtney Moe, the Senior Inspiration Award for the City of Desert Hot Springs.
My name is Courtney Moe. Well, I moved to Indiana to go to school, and then to Texas. No, I first went back to Wisconsin after that, and then to Texas, and then to Los Angeles, then to Orange County, and now finally here. We have a place up in Big Bear, and it's cold all the time. I like warm weather, so this seemed like a logical place to go. Well, pretty early on in business, because through the in my case, Harvard Business School Association, you get to meet a lot of people, and then before you know it, you're involved. You can't be in an organization without feeling obligated to do something, and then before you know it, you're running the damn thing. The natural history, the Desert Hot Springs Natural History Society, we acquired a historic rock house, and it has to be restored in order to be able to be accessible to the public. So that's going to be the future home of the Desert Hot Springs Historical Society. And it ought to be a really neat tourist attraction that'll go along with Cabot's. I was involved with Cabot's, but anyway, I got other things now. And then we had something called the Renaissance Group. And if you'll recall, about 10 years ago, no, shorter than that, 5 or 6 years ago, Desert Hot Springs was pretty broke. And so we helped raise money to hire a grant reporter, grant writer, who then got lots of grants for the city. So we got about $6 million worth of grants for putting in upgrading the streets, putting in street lights, stoplights. So that was a pretty fun project. And now the city's so financially strong, they don't need us anymore for that. So we're looking into some other new project for that. And then we started the Advancing DHS, which is a group that reports on individuals within the city who are helping, who are things that make our city great. And so he puts on, we had a website and email blasts and articles in the Sun and things of that sort. Let's see, I am now on the working to be on the finance committee. I'm an alternate now because I'm new at our new homeowners association, it's new to me, homeowners association, because I just moved. Just one of these things that I found that really gets you involved and gets you to meet lots of people and is fun and it keeps you busy. But I think the main thing it does that makes you feel better, you get to know individuals, and that's more meaningful, I think. I used to go out to lunch a lot with people, and that was fun. It's going to be something I'm going to do after COVID, but that was a big part of it, because it's fun to plot and scheme about how you're going to fix something or make something work better. Well, you know, at 87, I'm not doing more. I don't find myself as effective as I used to be or have as much energy, so I don't think I'll do any more, but I'm certainly going to stay active and always looking for something new to get involved in. But, you know, some things you stop doing and then you want to do something else. One of the questions you didn't ask was what's some of the best decisions that I made. And one of them was picking my wife.
Good answer.
Well, it's, you know, it's probably the most important single decision that anybody ever makes. And so it's, you know, it's really pretty important. And it results in a really nice life. We had a really fun thing when our kids threw a 50th anniversary party for us. And it was, you know, top dog party, and it was had 150 people there, and gee, friends from all over, and a dance band, and sit down dinner, and it was really nice. We really appreciated it. I just like to thank the people of Desert Hot Springs because they've been very welcoming to us. We moved without knowing anybody here, and you know, we've gotten to know lots of people, and it's a great place to live.
It is my pleasure to present our two Riverside County honorees. We will begin with Judy. Judy has been a longtime resident of the Coachella Valley and graduated from Palm Springs High School. Judy taught at Coachella Valley Unified School District, my alma mater, for 38 years. In 2006, she earned the title of Teacher of the Year and retired in 2008. Since her retirement, Judy has volunteered at the Living Desert Zoo and at the McCollum Theater. Judy has been giving back to her community and loving it. For a very long time, she's been working at these efforts, and we are proud to have you as our honoree, Judy. You deserve it.
Hi, my name is Judy Boland. I actually grew up in Palm Springs. I moved here, my family moved here in about 1958, so I was a youngster and grew up there, graduated Palm Springs High, and spent most of my years here except going away to college. You know, people will say, oh, I've been here for 12 years. I go, well, I've been here a lot longer than that and seen a lot of changes, so I love it here. Well, obviously, I'm married, and so my husband is from here. So, you know, family has kept me here. I love the weather. I love the opportunity. I've seen a lot of growth in the area, and I just like it's a very vibrant, active area, and especially for seniors. You know, I see a lot of my people looking, you know, people that look like me and are in my age group. So it's a very comfortable place to live. I cannot share enough the joy that I get from doing volunteering. I mean, you're giving back to your community, but you get so much more in return. return. And there's a lot of self-worth. A lot of seniors tend to get into isolated areas and into zones of isolation. And this certainly brings you out of yourself and lets you engage with others and of all age groups. And that's the joy I get of giving back to my community. This is actually my 12th year, and the two places I volunteer the most at, I was an educator for 38 years in the eastern end of the valley. I always brought my kids on field trips to the McCallum Theater and to the Living Desert. And when I retired, the first thing I did was go down and sign up. I thought, you know, I'd like to give back as a thank you for them providing the opportunities for my students to be able to experience something broader than just their local community. And I run into adult students with their own kids. And that's a double joy because I get to see that they've grown up, and because I was primarily in primary education, so, but it's a joy to have them come back. And absolutely, I love it. It's a different way of, dealing with the public, and it's really fun. So there's a great sense of satisfaction. Plus, it seems like you're always on a learning curve. There's always something new to learn from it. Being in education every day was a learning experience, and I like to continue that to keep my mind active and my body physically active as well. And everything you read with seniors this is one of the things that's the healthiest for people, all people to do, especially seniors. I've met people that I would have never met in my life of profession, and it's just been delightful. I've gotten very good friendships established, and even through the pandemic we've kept in touch through texting and Zooming, and so that connection really helped to get through this pandemic. So I'm real appreciative of it. It's a two-way street completely. Everybody wins. Well, it's very surprising. I just feel like I'm an ambassador for the hundreds of people that do their job every day in all areas. And on a personal level, I like to thank my husband because he's the one that lets me go out, and he's been 100% supportive. He's not interested in doing that. He does other things, but my family and my dear friends who put up with me, no, I can't do it today. I'm at the Living Desert. Oh, I've got to be at the McCallum tonight. So anyway, those would be the people. And then the people who run the organizations who never fail to say thank you to all of us volunteers. So we do appreciate that as a volunteer.
Our next County of Riverside honoree is Ernestina Salas. Ernestina moved to the Coachella Valley 20 years ago and has always found a way to be involved in community service. Nowadays, she volunteers in thermal at the Jerry Rummins Senior Center. Ernestina is an energetic and joyous person, and she also deserves the honor of being a Senior Inspiration Award honoree, an honor that is also shared with her mother, Ophelia, who received the award in 2012. We are lucky to have both Judy and Ernestina as part of our community. Thank you both.
My name is Ernestina Salas. I grew up in Merced, California, San Joaquin Valley. I came in 2000, so 21 years now. I grew up in the fields, like picking tomato, walnuts. I mean, you name it, we did it, cotton. So I know the cold and the heat, but for some reason, I don't know, maybe when you're young you don't feel it. Not that I'm old, or I thought I was, but boy, it sure takes a toll on you when you have the weather, climate change. I'm not a good survivor. I wouldn't make it on the survival team, no. I actually started volunteering because my mom, she always volunteered at the schools, at the senior center, where, helping people, giving people rides, all the time. So when I came to live with her, that was one of the things. Oh, we need to give this lady a ride oh, we need to take food over here. We need to do that for the church, for the community and like that. So then I ended up kind of just moving in that space. And it's fun. You get to meet the people. I didn't know the valley at all, like how to get around and stuff. So then I helped with that and taking food out to people to their homes. The senior center would cook meals and then need volunteers to distribute them. So I did that. And then pretty soon I ended up helping a lot there and even taking a job there for a while. They actually wanted to pay me for it. And I was like, I don't I don't even know how you could possibly afford me. But we did, and it was great. And then pretty soon, when they needed somebody to fill in, I just volunteered. Probably when I was growing up, I didn't volunteer a lot. Like, I didn't see it as much as like now. And I try to get young people to volunteer. And I tell them, yeah, because you know what? When you get older, then I remember that. I said, because I don't remember it, volunteering. But now I tell people, like, yeah, you should give a little of your time all the time. So it's a good thing. It gives you there's no, how do you say, no reward, not like money value. It's something that you'll take with you always. It seems like if you just give a little bit, you get a whole lot more, because my mom and I were just like, how can you be bored? How can you be depressed? How can you be? And then she said, even if you just sit out here and enjoy the sun. I said, yeah, Mom, you just sit right there in the sun and I'll sit over here in the shade and we're cool. I said, wait. And we could sit there for like 2 hours. But somebody will pass by, somebody will talk to her. I think rewarding for me is the fact that I don't have that. I'm content, just what comes, what goes, and I think that's a reward for me, is that I'll find the something in it, for me to feel good about what I'm doing. Otherwise, why do it? So I guess that's a reward part, is that it's for me, it's self-satisfying. I'm really thankful. I guess in my mind, I always want to remember my legacy. My grandmother, when we were talking, my mom, I just came and helped her. But then I was remembering her mother also was very involved in Brawley. She was awarded several times, now that I think about it, about giving of her time and her time. And so I'm thankful that I have that I had my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother. So I'm very thankful for that. I realize that a lot of people don't have that. And so I'm thankful in that the people acknowledge that sometimes, like this award. It doesn't have to be a position, you finally reach that position of lieutenant, captain, whatever, something high in position-wise, but that people actually acknowledge. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much that you give your gift of sharing of whatever, of giving. And so that's really, it makes me feel good too. And so I'm thankful for that. And I'd like to thank them back. Yeah, the senior center, if it hadn't been across the street from our house, it was a lifesaver.
Don't we have some great seniors out there? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, we do have great seniors. I would like to thank all of our sponsors, the Coachella Valley cities, and Supervisor V. Manuel Perez for making this program possible. We hope to see you in person next year in La Quinta. Thank you.